This is Jed, easily the stupidest vehicle I have ever bought. So we're gonna do something a little different today and go through a full fleet tour. All the cars, all the trucks, all the trailers, everything we've got going on here, and explain what they are, kind of the specs on them, what we use them for, and kind of what the plans are for some of them. This is a video I've got a lot of requests on here very recently. I get that every once in a great while, but a couple weeks ago I got probably 24 requests for this in the span of a week. So today we've got some time, we're gonna get it done. So we're gonna start here at the main yard where obviously we've got most of the stuff, and then we'll head over, check out the big trailers, and then we'll finish it off with the grand finale of all of them, which is Jed. So like I said, a couple of weeks ago I just started getting a big flood of requests for this exact type of video. Something happened somewhere in YouTube land where now all of a sudden everybody wants to see this. I don't know quite what triggered that, but either way, this is a pretty easy video for me to do. And what's very strange is money-wise, like monetary-wise, views and amount of money videos bring in, they don't actually line up. They're two very different things. Videos like this, where I'm kind of like walking around talking about what's going on, do really well on the monetization side, much better than the recovery videos. Fun fact is most of the recovery videos actually lose money. And it's videos like this and a few of those that take off big that actually bring this channel back into like the profiting side. It's strange, but that's the way it works. So let's start off with, obviously first in line here, one of my favorites. This is my 1930 Dodge Brothers Sedan Deluxe. This is a very modified vehicle, obviously. The body is on the original chassis. This is not a body swap. Original body on original chassis, but pretty much everything else has been completely redone. Under the hood here, see, we've got a 4.3 liter Chevy Vortec V6. Very modern engine. We've got power brakes, power steering. On the other side here, you can see we've even got AC. All our relays and everything wired up right here. The people who originally did this conversion did a very, very good job. This thing has, 4.3 liter Vortec V6, 4L60E transmission, NP231 transfer case, Chrysler 8 1/4 rear end, or Ford 8.8. I can't remember which one we put in it. I don't know. Dana 30 front axle. And people always ask me when they see this out, like, hey, did you build that? And it's like, no, I didn't. I bought it like this. So all I did was buy it and slap some tires on it. And then we got to thinking about it, and actually, we did not buy it like this. Basically, we bought the body like this. Pretty much everything else that makes it go down the road, we've upgraded and changed. And by we, a lot of that, I mean Nate over Elite Fleet Automotive. So you know, when we first got this car, actually I drove it all over the country. I drove it to Utah and back a couple times, down to California and back, pulling trailers with it and everything. I'm trying to take it to Canada. Blew the motor, sent rod through the side of the block. So the engine got changed, and got that done, got back to using it again. And then the gearing of this car was way too high. It had 307 gears in it. It's aerodynamically, it's a freaking brick, so that just wasn't working. So in the process of regearing it, we also switched over, got rid of the Dana 35s in the back. I can't remember what we put in it. Chrysler 8 1/4 or Ford 8.8. I think Chrysler 8 1/4, whatever that is down there. And then regeared all the 456s. Another thing we also did, this thing had an electronic shift transfer case in it with the switch right there to switch it back and forth, and that had given me some trouble, so we pulled that out and we put an NP231 in it. Sorry, this is a mess. This car is a daily driver, so it looks like a daily driver, but we swapped it over to an NP231 manual shift transfer case. One, to get the manual shifting. Two, so we had a neutral position so we could flat tow this behind my RV. Now obviously the interior, oh man, what a mess. The interior is completely redone. Like I said, daily driver with kids, and that's what it looks like. I bought this car to use it, not just to have it look pretty and be a show car, and use it as what we do. Got the EcoFlow in here, because we had the fridge in here running the fridge. I need to clean this thing out because it's actually supposed to go to a car show in like 3 days and be at a show. So yeah, we gotta clean this thing up, but interior's all redone. That seat's all power seat, everything. See all your AC and heater controls. This is a vintage air setup in this thing. That steering wheel is kind of the one thing inside this car that doesn't really fit the look of the rest of it. but I have the solution right over here. Still in the box because it just came in. This is going to be the new steering wheel for that car, and I think it's going to fit the look a whole lot better. I got the adapter to put it on there too, so just imagine that. I think that'll be a much better fit for this car. On the back here, we've got a jerry can. This thing has a 12-gallon fuel tank, so on long trips you go through it pretty quick. Spare tire mount on the back. I added a hitch receiver, full 7-way trailer plug with brakes and all for pulling trailer. It's got backup lights in it, turn signals, all this stuff. One thing, if you guys know these cars, it is dusty, dirty. Like I said, daily driver. These cars did not have a solid roof. This would have had the outside edges, and this whole center section here would have been a cloth roof that could fold back and come forward. And the people who built this welded in the roof of a Chevy Tahoe. So this right here is actually, I don't know what year, but a Chevy Tahoe roof skin that they blended into this car right here and did a great job on it. But the body work, the paint, the interior, the initial build was all done. This is as I bought it, but pretty much everything that makes it move down the road, aside from the transmission itself, we've replaced. So the entire running gear of this car we've redone since I got it. So yeah, the 1930 Dodge is my daily driver, my dropping my daughter off at school rig, going and getting groceries, running to town, and then we also do use it for recoveries as well. It's got a 12,000-pound Badlands Apex winch on it with the Yankum Groove Fairlead hookless setup on the front. I'm going to rebuild this front bumper. I'm going to use the same bumper skin, but put D-ring mounts right here so that I can use the tow bar behind my RV over there. And we're going to reinforce it back into the frame of the car right here and tie into some of what they built for this whole winch plating. It'll still look like this on the outside, just instead of having these, it'll have actual D-ring tabs, and it'll be a lot stronger. Now this here is Willie, and it's called that because it says Willie. Willie was the name of the father of the guy who built this, and this one is a 1949 Willys wagon. I know some people are going to correct me and say it's Willys. I don't care. I call it Willys. That's how I say it. 1949 was the first year of four-wheel drive in the Willys wagon, and the last year of just the straight rounded front fenders. After that, they kind of had a little kick out point to them right here, and I think I like the newer style fender look better than this one. But either way, this one we have not done very much to at all. I bought this out in Missouri, flew out there, bought the thing, drove it home through a snowstorm, highway shut down in Wyoming, all kinds of stuff. It did awesome other than the windshield wiper falling off, which is why it has two separate colored windshield wipers on it now. But this also has a 4.3 liter Vortec V6, much like this here. It has a 700 R4 transmission, which is basically the earlier version of the 4L60E. And then this has an MP231, just like this one does too. Chrysler 8 1/4 in the rear, Dana 30 in the front, meaning these two have almost the exact same drivetrain and running gear in them. The only difference is this one is a 1999 Vortec V6, so it's OBD2. This one is a 1994 Vortec V6, so it's OBD1, which there's not a whole lot of differences between the two when you really get down to it. But same thing, I put a Badlands Apex winch on the front, Yankum Groove Fairlead in there. This one does have the big D-ring point, so it's easy to flat tow behind the RV. This old jack, I don't think I will ever use it, but it looks super cool, so it's staying right here. I do have the other hood for this one that I want to get put on it. Just I haven't had the time. We've been very, very busy with lots of projects and lots of business venture stuff. But same thing here. There's your 4.3 liter. There's the AC over there. This also has vintage air, much like the car, and I'm just now realizing that on this one the AC is on that side, and on that one the AC is on this side. But either way, you see here's the ECM for it, and right here is your OBD2 diagnostic port. I should probably get a new piece of tape for that. This one's got these big old truck mirrors on it. I actually really like those. This one has the little hot rod mirrors. They are very much useless. Oh, my wife's calling me. Hey babe. Good, how you doing? Okay, we're back. So this one, I don't want to call it a beater rig, but it's more of my, I got to go up in the dirt and the Forest Service roads and bounce around the woods and doing recoveries, and out in the desert, I usually end up taking this one. One, obviously a lot bigger, a lot more ground clearance, a lot bigger tires, and this one also, speaking of tires, these are an actual beadlock rim. It's a very different style of beadlock. These are pins that actually go like that deep and go up behind the bead. So that bead of the tire has this on the outside and these pins behind it on the inside. All the way around there's an O-ring on every single one of those. These took a while to get mounted, but it's a DOT, street legal, whatever, actual beadlock. Has the rapid deflate valve, so you just pull this off and pull this handle out and they deflate in like 20 seconds. So this is more the one I use for the out in the rough road, woods, snow recovery. One, just the bigger tires, more ground clearance, and two, those beadlock wheels that I can air down super far. Still not at all scared to take this thing off road, and absolutely do, but this one is better at that job. Okay, back to the inside. These are Honda Odyssey seats, and I gotta tell you, they are comfortable. So this has much more appropriate steering wheel in it. And my phone is ringing again. Cascade Heavy Rescue. Yes. Okay, we're back again. So back in the Willys here. This has all electronic gauges here. It has a GPS speedometer, so it's always accurate here. For the longest time, I didn't think it had a tachometer because I sit right here. And then one day I leaned forward and looked like, oh, I do have a tach. It's got some sort of stereo system in it with speakers all over, and supposedly it works. I don't listen to the stereo or radio in any vehicle. I drive those trucks days on end, never turn on a radio. I just listen to the truck. It has been converted over to electronic windshield wipers, no more vacuum in there. It has this nice little handy shelf up here. Again, your vintage air, AC, that whole AC box right there is like broke apart. So it's not working at the moment. I need to actually probably just, this rig probably needs a brand new system put in it, whereas the car just needs a couple new seals. It slowly leaks out of the pump, but works great when it's working. I should probably just replace everything in this one when it comes to the AC. I put this back seat in here. It came with a very original Willys old back seat. I wanted something much safer for my daughter. So I put this seat in, built mounts to the floor, full shoulder belts on it and all that stuff. This is insulated, not upholstered. I would like to one day get the upholstery all done on this and the interior like finished out, making it real nice. But it's insulated, so that's a good start. On the back, it does have this dual swing out bumper setup. That's all going to get changed because it's not the most solidly done one. It's great for what it's for and what it was intended to do, and pulling something out every once in a while. But for what I use this thing for is big old Yankum rope pulls and all that stuff and heavy winching. I want something stronger. You hear that? I don't even see a plane anywhere, but I hear one. I want something much stronger, more robust. And also, if you're building a bumper, here's a tip. Put the gas can on the same side as the fuel filler, and then you don't have to pull the gas can out and dump it in every time. If at the bottom of the can is at the filler neck or higher, you can just use a siphon hose and you could siphon it over right into there. The gas can never has to come out of the mount. So that'll be another thing rebuilding this, is swap the sides of those two things right there. I put a rack on top, well, of both of them. Put on the lights with the side shooter each way. This is a really wide pattern. Never had time to wire them up. So it has lights all the way around. None of them are hooked up. So that's a project I got to get to as well. This here is my 2016 Ram 3500 single wheel setup. And one of the biggest questions I get about this truck is this winch mount right here. This is a Weston winch mount for the 4th gen Rams, which this is the 4th gen. I have pulled on this thing every which angle, very hard. Had no issues with this. You'll see mine has a receiver hitch right here. They don't come with that. I just took this and welded this one on. And actually did that for one specific job where we recovered the lawnmower from the 300-foot cliff. No, 150-foot cliff. I'm exaggerating. 150-foot cliff. It's just out here behind my house in the desert. It has this light bar here that barely works anymore. Has a quick connect for battery jumping right there. It is on, I believe they're 1350 wide. Nope, they're 1250. 37, 1250, 17-inch tires. And these are method bead grip wheels. So they're not a bead lock like that one. They're a bead grip. So they have, the bead of the tire sits in, there's a little lip on the inside that makes it so you can air these down really, really far and not worry about coming off the bead. But they still eventually will, unlike these that are basically bolted in place. But as far as suspension for the 37s, bone stock, exact stock height. There's just a very slight bit of trimming right here in the plastics, and you get the right offset of wheel with the right size of tire, and it actually clears really well. There's one spot where it's like a third of the way through the turn angle and the wheel in just the right spot of a flex where it will just barely rub, but not a problem at all. In the rear, it does have super springs on the back because the wheel lift on the back, obviously you're taking a whole bunch of weight way out here on a big lever. So this truck does have a reinforced frame. The chassis is reinforced all the way through up to the front suspension mounts. It has super springs back here, and then this big old hydraulic sneaker wheel lift on the back. It's called a sneaker because it's like a sneaky tow truck. This is the setup that's used a lot for repo stuff. I don't do any repo stuff, but it is set up for it, and it does have 2-inch receiver down underneath that moves with it. You obviously have to pull this out if you're going to use this and go towing, but this is incredibly handy for hooking up the trailers and just picking them up and setting them down. I hardly ever use that to tow cars anymore, but it does do really well. It's an auto loader, grabs the wheels, picks them up, take off down the road if you're doing like repo stuff. What I use it for, pilot car, so I've got this sign rack here, flips up, flips down, it flips up farther if I'd pull the pin out. Got your lights and stuff here, toolbox in the back here, side boxes over here on each side, all lockable with the same key. Whole bunch of junk in the back of the truck at the moment we got to clean out. Has the gooseneck hitch, has the fifth wheel adapter, all that stuff. Performance wise, it's got some Banks stuff on it, exhaust, Banks. It's got the Banks rear diff cover, Banks intake, some Banks other stuff. We're getting the whole Banks. It's actually sitting in storage there. I have the Banks, what do they call it? The intake, the whole intake that eliminates the heater grid setup on this truck. I have that. We're getting ready to do a video of installing that. I'm a big fan of the Banks stuff, so performance wise, that's what's got this truck set up, is the Banks gear. Inside of this one is nothing super special. It's got an extra camera screen right here because there's a camera down in the wheel lift for looking underneath cars as you're backing up to them. It's got its normal backup camera here. This is the Laramie edition, so it's all the leather, heated and cooled seats and heated steering wheel and all that stuff. But it is a really, really, really nice truck. Kind of the truck I always wanted, but I don't drive it that often, only when I need for the pickup side of it. I also didn't mention, it does have a CB in there from where pilot carring. But it's a really nice truck. I don't give it the love it deserves. I don't drive it often enough. But when you have stuff like this to drive around, this is gonna sit. And over here, I guess we can show the horse trailer. I bought this trailer to do one specific job that I didn't even actually charge the person for. But you want to, what I said earlier about most of my recovery videos and stuff lose money. This was one of them. I had someone reach out, Maybilene the pig. I'll put a link to that video down in the description, where we went and we towed Maybilene, this big pig this lady had. She lived in town, neighbors causing a problem for her, had to get rid of the pig or she was going to lose her house. Pig needed transported down into California. Someone called me asking if I could do it, told the whole story. The pig went to a new home in California, I'm going to explain. A new lady who had a farm and a ranch and other animals and pigs and stuff like that, and is like a big time animal person, so that was all perfect. They just had to get the pig down there. They asked if I could transport the pig. I said yes, even though I had no way to transport the pig. Then I went on Facebook Marketplace and I bought this little trailer here and set up all the inside with shavings and stuff for the pig. And Grumpy and I drove all the way over to Grants Pass, Oregon, like bottom opposite side of the state. Herded the pig out of the backyard, and I kind of had to wrestle and have some talks with the pig to get her in the trailer here. We got her all set up with some snacks and some water and some stuff. And then we hauled her down into California, had to go through the ag checkpoint to get into California, have all the vet documentation and all the stuff. And took her down into California, got her dropped off at her new home. Filmed the whole thing, made a video of it, and kind of thought, man, people are really gonna like this. This is something different, it's something cool, and it's a good thing to do, helping someone out. That video bombed, especially money-wise. I bought the trailer, spent a whole day doing this big old huge loop all the way down into California and back. I think that video probably made 300 bucks. I mean, so we were majorly in the hole on that one, but I'm still glad to do it, and I'd go do it again without even making 300 bucks just because it was a good thing to help someone out. So now this trailer is just my trash trailer. We use it, we throw all our trash in here until it fills up, and then I pick it up with the Zacklift and I dump it into my dump trailer over there, and then haul it to the dump and haul out the trash once a month or once every couple months. I think is about all we do. I think it's a couple months. So yeah, that's what it's used for now. If I ever get another need to haul a pig, I have the trailer to do it. David's weed eating over here, so you have to excuse the weed eater noises, but this is my 2005 International 8600 rollback with the NRC 40 TB rollback bed on the back. This thing's got a Cummins ISM. Supposedly it's only supposed to be 380 horsepower, but this truck will outrun this truck with the DD13 all freaking day long. Like, it's not even close. This thing, I don't know if it's turned up or has something done to it, but it doesn't smoke, so it's not like crazy turned up. But that little Cummins ISM that's supposed to be 380 horsepower blows away this DD13 that's supposed to be 450. This has got a Eaton 13-speed transmission in it. This truck is full double framed all the way front to back because this truck started its life out as a 25-ton wrecker, kind of like this, and was set up that way for a while until the NRC came out with these 40 TB beds, and the wrecker body got pulled off, the bed got put on, and it got turned into a rollback. These are all David's toolboxes. He's going to work on cleaning up for his auction flip project. But yeah, this thing is oh, my thing fell off the dash there. But yeah, 13 speed, standard truck. This one is actually very comfortable to drive. You've got super good visibility all the way around. Runs great, like I said, tons of power. Rides smooth, turns sharp. It's a very, very actually handy truck. We did have, every talk about us, the problem truck is it had that 6-8 months of being broke down. It was literally one issue, and that was the ECM, was the whole thing. It was just, it went to a shop that couldn't figure that out, and it made it seem like it was constant problems, but the whole time it was literally just a bad ECM. Another thing a lot of people ask about is why there's 2 license plates on this truck and that truck. It's because these two are registered as tow trucks, and in the state of Oregon, for heavy trucks, you've got your commercial registration, and these are apportioned plates, so I'm legal to go all over the country in all the states. But they run the apportioned plates, that's your commercial registration, and that is the Oregon tow plate, it's your tow registration. So Oregon, to be a tow truck in Oregon, you have to have Oregon tow business license and tow registration for each vehicle. That's why that truck has TW plates on it, TW plate, and then the wrecker over there does as well, because they're all tow trucks. But these two here are also commercial trucks that can run and haul freight all over the country, so they have to have dual registration. So on this truck, the bed is 26.5 feet. Has a 25,000 pound winch up there with Yankum synthetic rope on it. I got some toolboxes here that Matt at Tumalo Transport knows why are bent like that. All my chains and binders up there and stuff. Obviously tandem axles, OnSpot auto chains. I guess you can't see them right there. There they are, OnSpot auto chains for the snow and ice. Like I said, double framed all the way through. On the back, it's got the big 40 TB underreach on the back. This thing can tow a tractor trailer down the road behind it and haul something on the bed at the same time. All the different attachments and stuff for it, including the wheel grids. This is one incredibly versatile and handy truck. This is my 2016 Western Star 4900 setback axle with my Zacklift Genesis 35-ton detachable wrecker body on the back. So the truck, like I said, it has a DD13 Detroit diesel engine, Eaton 13-speed transmission. It is the tall webbed 3/8 frame all the way through. So this frame rail is 2 inches taller from top to bottom than your standard truck frame rail, and a standard one is also 1/4 inch, and this is 3/8. So it's a single frame. This truck and that truck over there are double frames. This one's a single, but it's a much beefier single than your average truck's single frame. This is a 276-inch wheelbase truck. I did forget to mention that about the rollback. That's a 280-inch wheelbase truck. Dual pump PTO system on it. So there's one PTO off the transmission with 2 pumps bolted to it end to end that come back and run 2 completely separate hydraulic circuits that can also be combined into one high flow circuit with this diverter valve setup back here, built by Tim at High Mountain Diesel. And then you see a pressure and return here and a pressure and return over there to run 2 completely separate hydraulic systems through this whole body back here. So like I said, this thing should have 450 horsepower, but that truck just smokes it. Like, and pulling power and taking off power and climbing hill power, it blows this one away. I don't know if this one needs to be turned up or it's detuned or what, but it's got a hell of an engine brake on it, I'll tell you that. This one has the best engine brake out of all of them, but also the least amount of horsepower, pulling horsepower out of all of them. So I actually need to have someone plug into that and look at it and see if it's been detuned. This truck was from the Central Valley of California, and it worked in that California Central Valley its whole life until I bought it. So all it ever saw was flat land, wide open Central Valley stuff, and it pulled a flatbed trailer behind it. So never really an in the hills heavy load hauling truck. So they could have had it detuned or tuned for fuel mileage instead of power. This is something I would like to look at on this one. This one has the Hurd bumper on it. That thing is an absolute monster, and it's got the big toe pin in the front. This truck had the big front cross member and toe pin from the factory, but the bumper replaces all that with its own, so you still got your toe pin there. That truck, I don't think you can get one of these Hurd bumpers for this model, so it doesn't have one. And that one, even though these are 2 vastly different trucks in their whole front end shape, Hurd doesn't make a bumper specifically for that front end. This one will bolt onto that truck, and I've seen them. I don't like the look of that bumper on that model of truck, so it doesn't have one. Anyway, we got the 385 tires up front with the spikes that everybody hates, which is why I run them. This is a dual tank truck, fuel tank wise. It's got 225 gallon fuel tanks. Got side boxes here that are an absolute mess at the moment, but the top one has drawers for all your hand tools and stuff like that. Your bottom one, big compartment for different random stuff. I also got this big enclosed headache rack up here on the back. We've got halogen rotating red lights up here. We've got halogen rotating amber lights on the corner of the cab right there. And then up on top, I don't know if we're gonna be able to see from down here until you get farther away from the truck, which is fine because you're trying to warn people before they get to your truck. But up top up there, there is an LED light bar that has a bunch of different flash patterns in both red and in amber. So this truck can flash red light bar up top. In the state of Oregon, tow trucks can run red lights, flashing lights, or amber. This truck does a lot of stuff in California, Nevada, Washington. Washington can run the red ones as well, but California and all the others can't. So they're all on different switches where you can run everything as amber, only red, a mix of the two, whatever you want to do. Now the working into this truck, I said this is the Zacklift Genesis 30-ton detachable wrecker. It's got a twin line extendable boom. It's got 2 30,000-pound hydraulic winches up there. Again, all wrapped in Yankum synthetic winch line. And again, filthy dirty. It's been so dusty dirty around here lately. This truck also has the OnSpot auto chains. This underlift here, it's got a 3-stage underlift that comes out. Incredibly handy, powerful unit that can be detached from the truck in less than 10 minutes. I don't know if I'm gonna get ambitious enough to do this or not, but I'm gonna try to find videos of the stuff I'm referencing and putting the links to all those down in the description of this video. So I have a video of the removal process of this I have a video of the auto chain specifically. Whatever else I said about this, I think I have a video of. I'm going to try to find all those links and put them in the description down there.
Is everything you have here now?
No.
What, Nate's shop or?
Jed's at Nate's shop. The big trailer's over at the other yard. I think all of Cascade Heavy Rescue's other stuff is here. Yeah. So as far as Cascade Heavy Rescue YouTube stuff, it's all here other than those three.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this would be like, oh, it's going to take 10 minutes to walk around and film this video.
It's going to like take 10 minutes per car.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be a way longer video than I was expecting. All right, this here is a truck we call the Beast. Okay, this truck we're starting over with from the beginning again because I started on it and then my wife brought home lunch from the New York City sub shop and it was really good and I forgot where we were. So we're starting from the beginning. This is a truck we call the Beast. And I tell everybody how big this truck is and they'll go, oh yeah, it's a big truck. And then they see it in person and go, whoa, that is a big truck. Well, as you can see here, from this one to that one to that one, that is one big truck. I am 6'4". You see it's well over my head. Whereas like these ones here, this is a tall truck as well and it's down below. And this is a more average, obviously not like a long hood, Pete hood or whatever, but big difference. So this right here is a 2018 Western Star 4900 setback. Same exact model as this one, but obviously very different truck. This is the high hood version. I don't know the exact designation of it, but obviously it's a very high hood to fit a much bigger radiator in because this truck is made for all out serious heavy haul pulling. So it's got a Detroit DD16, an Eaton 18-speed manual transmission, and 2-speed rear end. So these rear ends basically have two different gear ratios in them. The high ratio for like going down the highway is 390, and then you flip it to the low side, you're down to 530 or 533, I believe it is. DD16 is 600 horsepower, and the reason for this huge radiator in it is this truck being a heavy haul truck, don't mind the noise over here, is obviously made to pull hundreds of thousands of pounds behind it. And when you're going up a hill at hundreds of thousands of pounds, you're not moving very fast, so you don't have the airflow of going down the highway to help keep it cool. So this truck will very often be at its absolute max horsepower and torque output at like 2-3 miles an hour. Well, not that often at that, but like at super low speed where it basically has no airflow over the radiator. So the fan in the radiator, its job is to pull cool air in from the outside across the radiator to cool down everything and then get the hot air out. Well, on that truck there or that truck there, see there's not a lot of room in there for air to escape, but when you're moving faster down the road, that's okay. This one is designed to move so slowly down the road at full horsepower that the cab has been lifted way up off the chassis, and these pieces right here are actually just skirts that make it look like it's not that tall. But when you come around here behind them, as you can see, there is a ton of room between the cab and the chassis, and that is to have room to exhaust air out from under the cab and get that air that came through the radiator, that hot radiator, and across that hot engine out and away so that the fan can pull more cool air in and keep this thing cool while it's putting out all that power. The front axle in this truck is a 23,000 pound front axle. The rear axle is 46,000 pound, obviously 2-speed rear axles on New Way air suspension. You can see that is some super beefy stuff, which is also super heavy. These are spread drives on this truck, so from the center of that axle to center of that axle, 5-foot 1-inch spread, which in California gets you 47,338 pounds. There's quite a few other states do that as well. And if you go through all the Caltrans inspection and proper tires and offset rims, stuff like that, you can get the full 23,000 pounds on the weight here. I just have it permitted to 22,000 on the front in California, and then it gets 21.5 here in Oregon. But this truck, you could see, has a super long slide fifth wheel on it, which brings the trailer all the way up here if the trailer has a long enough neck to do it. And that's to load up all that weight up here on the front. This truck is a 220-inch wheelbase, which is to the center of the drive axles right there. Is how you measure wheelbase. So that has to come way forward to get all the weight up here. But one thing that really helps is that this truck weighs empty with no trailer hooked up, just sitting bobtail, 14,500 pounds on the front axle. So it's already got a lot of weight up there. It's got dual steering boxes, you know, one on each side. It also has the big pull pin and heavy duty front cross member in it. This truck is made to be hooked to other trucks in line and have a few 100,000 pounds behind it being drug up a hill and not getting ripped in half. And it does that with this monstrous frame it has in here. I don't know how well you can see, but that truck over there, I said, has that 2-inch taller frame that's 3/8 thick. This one also has the 2-inch taller 3/8 frame, but it's a double 3/8 frame, as you can see right there. So this one is a frame rail inside of a frame rail, from the very tail to the very nose and that big old front cross member. Both of these Western Stars have the 36-inch short little sleeper on them. This one has the stacks on it. That one over there has the weed burner exhaust that comes out underneath. This one has external air cleaners. That one has internal air cleaners. A lot of this is for the bigger engine. More air in, more air out, more horsepower the engine can make. And back here, this one has Cozad ramps on the back for mechanical neck trailers. With the wing ramps that go up onto the fifth wheel that slide with the fifth wheel. And then this ramp section runs all the way underneath and it overlaps. So you can slide this fifth wheel way up ahead and still run the rollers up across the ramps and then up the wings onto the fifth wheel even when it's up there. So you don't have to slide back to disconnect. It also has pintle hitch on the back, plus a 2-inch receiver, plus all the plumbing to run any type of trailer back here. This truck does have a 2-line wet kit on it to run hydraulic neck trailers, landalls, anything like that. But this truck here is just an absolute monster of a heavy haul truck, built to take basically anything you can throw at it. This truck pulled 9 13 axles, pulled a big dual lane trailer at 400,000 or 500,000 pounds. Like, you want to pull heavy, this is the truck to do it. And then ironically, hooked to the back of it is about the lightest spec of heavy haul trailer, hooked to about the heaviest spec of truck. This is my 1992 Trailese folding neck low bed trailer. This trailer is 40 feet tip to tail, which that's the tip and that's the tail. I went backwards there, but a 40-foot long trailer, folding neck, fully self-contained, so any truck can pull this, whether it has ramps, a wet kit, it needs nothing. Just any truck with a fifth wheel can pull this trailer. The landing gear goes down, takes the weight, you pull out, and the neck all folds down and lays out into one big ramp to load the trailer. One of the big bonus points to this setup for me in the towing industry is I can, before I had 2 trucks, say this trailer's in the yard, I got to go out and tow a truck off the highway with the Zacklift, but then I got to take it to Idaho, Utah, wherever. Yep, I can do that with the Zacklift, but then I'm going to come back home empty because good luck finding a heavy tow coming back the other way across the states. Where if I take a trailer, I have a much higher chance of finding a haul back. Now granted, we charge round trip wherever we go anyways, but you get something to come back, that's a bonus right there. You know, kind of doubles your money on that whole deal. And with this trailer not being a removable gooseneck, means the gooseneck does not have to be in the fifth wheel of the truck in order to detach, meaning the truck is free to do anything else. So I could have this trailer sitting in the yard, go out with the Zacklift, pick up a truck, bring it home. The trailer can lay itself out. It doesn't even need a truck hooked to it to do that. I can use the Zacklift to back the dead truck onto the trailer, go drop the Zacklift, come over, raise the trailer back up, hook that truck up, and then off we go hauling across the states with this setup. And then we can double our money because we can get another haul coming back. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I filmed a short of when I went over and picked up the Aspen single axle Jeep that we're going to see in just a minute. With this truck, I was able to set the trailer down, go hook this truck to the Jeep, back it on top of this trailer, unhook it on here, pull back up, and hook to the trailer. If this was an RGN, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So if you're wondering one of the big benefits to a folding neck trailer, it's this right here. I can completely unhook my trailer. I don't have the gooseneck still sitting in the fifth wheel. I can hook to another one, back it on my own trailer without having to have any other equipment or having the neck stuck in my fifth wheel and having to go chain it to the back of the trailer or tree or something goofy like that. So Allows your truck to be completely free to use the pintle hitch, the 2-inch receiver on the back, or the 5th wheel to load other stuff on your trailer. This is our 2002 Dodge 3500 4-wheel drive wrecker. We've got these Yokohama Goulander, like they're a 34-inch tall, but only 10, I believe, 10-inch wide tire. Tall, skinny tire on it we put on it. Those things are so quiet and ride so good. It's got a 24-valve Cummins in it, 5-speed transmission. Has this like towing kind of pushish bumper on the front. I really need to put a winch bumper on the front of this thing. I've had lots of Dodges over the years. I never run with the tow mirrors flipped up, but I found with this truck, flipping them up means I have a much more longer vertical view out the back, and I can have the mirror where it can see the back tires down at the bottom when I'm off-road and kind of screwed up spots, but still be able to see down the road when I'm driving on the road. So I think flipped up mirrors on Dodges look super dumb, but on this one, I'm looking super dumb. On the back of the truck here, we've got a Century 412 twin line wrecker bed. It's got an independent wheel lift and boom. This is an 8-ton boom. You can see we've got Yankum synthetic winch line on this as well. And on this, we went with the hookless dipped ends with our replaceable end pendants here, whatever you want to call it. So if we damage these or any kind of problems here, this last 3 feet of the winch line can be replaced. If you tear up this with a chain or a hook or something like that, just pop it off right here, pop a new one back on. Obviously extendable boom, twin line, under reach on the back with our wheel grids, spade right there for digging in. This truck, I believe, has 200,000 miles. It's got the tunnel box on it here, hand throttle here for running the throttle when you're right there on the controls. Again, another truck that's in great shape. Very, very comfortable to drive down the road. I flew out to Wyoming and bought this truck and then road tripped it all the way home. That's when we saw the military museum and got to go to Tracked Outdoors and check out our old Hagland, and truck was flawless all the way home. Had some work done to it, some upgrades, got the AC tuned up, a bunch of services and stuff at Elite Fleet Automotive, and it's running really, really good. And yes, this truck has the fast fuel pump and all the stuff on it and all the things everybody said, oh, you've got to do that to it right away or it's going to kill everything. It's like, it has 200,000 miles on it. If it was going to die because of that, it already would have died. And if it needed the upgrade, it already would have got the upgrade. Guess what? It already has the upgrade. So it has all of that, all those upgrades everybody says it should have, it has. On the back here, for air and down duals, I put the Crossfire system on it. And it did not work the way I expected it to. You can't let both tires air out through the one valve stem right here like I thought you could, but you can air it up through the one valve stem. So I got some new lines here. I've got to take all this apart, undo those little things, take this tiny little O-ring out and pull this line out and replace it with another one that has a separate valve stem like this on it. And then you put 2 deflators on there and it will deflate both tires at the same time. And then you'll air the whole thing back up through this one and it'll air up both evenly. I thought I was doing this to really simplify airing up and airing down duals, and I guess it does simplify airing them back up, but I don't know. We'll see how that works. It seems like it's going to be complicated, have a lot of crap hanging off my wheels here, which I'm not super excited about, but we'll try it, see how it works. If we like it, we'll keep it. If we don't, we won't. Now this is my track Jeep, and this is probably one of the better, I'm not going to say that. One of the cheaper business investments I've made, but it just, money-wise, not. The track snow recovery videos this year have made such tiny little money. Like, I think every single one of them has lost money, which is strange. A few years ago, those things were just doing great, and like those tracked recovery videos were what was making me most of the money. Now, I think every single one has lost money over what I put into doing the job versus what those videos got back. They don't do very well. Even if they do good view-wise, they don't do very good money pay-wise from YouTube. And the track recoveries have actually been major money losers over last year. But it's a good thing this costs so little. This is a 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee with the 5.9 Magnum V8 in it. You can tell by the hood scoops up here. Those are the real air vent hood scoops. So I bought this thing for $3,500, and it already had the shift kit in the transmission. It already had the 3-inch spacer lift. It already had the 1-ton steering, and it already had the hydro assist steering on it, because this was previously a track Jeep. The guy I bought it from some people who uses the track Jeep for cabin access. I bought it from him, so it was literally just bolt the tracks on, and that's all I had to do to it. I have a receiver mount winch in the front. I really want to wire that all up permanently, but I just haven't had time. These are Polar tracks. That's a company that came out making these tracks. I think they only lasted like a year or two and then went away. So these tracks, that brand no longer exists. Hasn't for, I don't know, 5-6 years now, something like that I think it was. But they've held up through the whole season. I haven't had to do any repairs or had any problems with them, which is good. And now it is June, and last night I got a snow rescue recovery. So even in June, the track Jeep is still doing track Jeep things. I keep saying I'm going to pull them off and put the tires back on so this can be David's company rig, but it keeps needing to be a track rig, so we don't. But this is another one. Interior, just freaking beautiful in here. Leather seats, heated seats, by the way, on top of that. Everything works flawlessly. I got this Jeep for such an absolute freaking score. And then I got these tracks from cousin Dave. He had them for his Rubicon and had no longer use for them, so he told me those are a really good deal. I think I'm in this whole setup $9,500 bucks. Yeah, $9,500 into this whole track Jeep, which if track recovery videos actually made money would make this one hell of a good business investment, but instead it was just a good deal on a track setup. The trailer that's on, this is a 2020 Frontier 22 foot 9,999 pound rated flat deck dovetail trailer. I believe those are actually 5,200 pound axles, but the trailer is derated down to 99,999 whatever 99s, so that you can pull it in California without a Class A license. Been a great trailer. Had a wheel fall off at once. Other than that, it's been a really good, super lightweight, easy to pull trailer. This one here, although I technically do own this at the moment, I'm not keeping it. This is going to my brother-in-law down in Southern California. I basically bought it for him. He's going to pay me back for it. So we're going to skip this because it's also got its own feature in a whole nother video. This is my wife's 2016 Jeep JK. We bought this new as a dealer demo unit. So when we bought it, it had about 2,000 miles on it, I think it was. And now it's at like 100 and what's it got on it? 136,000 miles. So between me and my wife, we put, holy crap, we put 234,000 miles on this thing, and it has been one of the most reliable Jeeps I have ever seen. It made it well over 100,000 miles before the first time it ever had to see a shop for any sort of repair, and that was just a very, very slight head gasket oil seep, or valve cover gasket oil seep. That is not something I even would have fixed if it was mine, but it made just the slightest smell of burning oil, and I didn't want that from my wife's rig, so we took it in the shop and had that fixed. Other than that, it's had this has been an incredibly reliable rig, which is exactly what you want for something for your wife. So we put a 2-inch spacer lift on it pretty early on and just some 33s. I think the first time it needed tires is when we did that, and ran it like that for a very long time. It did very good. And then here recently for my wife's birthday, I took it down to Elite Fleet, and me and Nate did a whole bunch of mathing and figuring and parts ordering and kind of put together a custom lift kit out of a bunch of other lift kit parts. I believe there's some Terraflex parts in there, rock crawler suspension parts, Fox shocks. We kind of like pieced together our own lift kit. So I'm not even sure exactly what the lift height was. Rusty might know. We should ask him. Hey, how much was it? 3.5? Probably 3.5, he says. That sounds right. And then we also did a lot on being able to use the stock wheels and the correct spacing in there to get the tires to sit right at the edge of the fenders so they don't look sucked in. There's no rub at all, but they're also not kicked way out stupid wide looking and throwing crap and mud all over the side of the Jeep that she's got to get into in her nice clothes and looking all fancy and such. And also to help with that, we put the fold down rock sliders on the side, and these right here, when they're up, are an actual steel rock slider that you can run down and put the whole weight of this thing on, sliding across the rock and stuff, but then it folds down into a step. This is my 2020 GR Trailers 14,000 pound dump trailer. It is a 7 by 16, 14,000 pound rated dump trailer. A lot of you guys remember the first dump trailer I bought that turned out to be a stolen trailer. So I lost that one. It had to go back to the original owner it was stolen from. So I had to buy a second one. I saved up a long time to buy that dump trailer that I'd bought. Ended up losing it, ended up getting a second one, and between the two, it cost me, I think, $19,000 to own this dump trailer, which sounds absolutely stupid, but I got completely screwed in that deal. Either way, GR Trailers, it's a very heavy duty dump trailer, much heavier than most like the load trails and the other ones like the previous one I had. You see the floor, we're using it right now, getting ready to do a dump run. The floor has a ribbed floor instead of a flat floor. And you can see where the D-rings are in all the corners. They have these wings so that stuff inside doesn't get hung up in the D-rings going out, and that's in all of them all the way around. It's got the dual purpose tailgate that opens like barn door style, or has latches down here and it opens like an actual tailgate with spreader chains. This has been a very great trailer. It's heavy, I tell you that. It is way heavier than your average dump trailer, but it's also way tougher, so that helps. Now as we get back over here in the back of the yard, you're gonna see a lot of weeds, lots and lots of weeds. I don't think I've ever seen this much weeds and grass on my property, but this year it went from everything covered in snow and then raining, all that, to all of a sudden 80 degrees like the very next week. And we went out of town for a week and came back, and it had just exploded out here with weeds, which was unbelievable. But anyway, this right here, the trailer I've always wanted and finally bought for myself. This is a 24-foot Big Tex 14,000 pound deck over power tilt trailer. 8.5 foot wide deck, 14,000 pound rated, full power tilt up and down with the winch at the front that I still, to this day, have not wired in because, again, it's one of those projects I haven't had time to get to. Things like that where it's like it's not detrimental to the using of the vehicle, I don't have time, so I haven't got into that. But this has been an amazing trailer, so handy for so many different things, and I've wanted one of these for 15 years and finally went to the dealership and bought myself a brand new one. It's just finally had to do it, and I'm very glad I did. I wish I would have done it a very long time ago. Here we have my true hitch. I've used it a couple times. You guys have seen me use it 0 times because none of those were stuff that we wanted to film or our customers wanted filmed, I should say. This is a super heavy duty towing device for towing the big, the extra heavy, the super large, way bigger than regular truck type of things. Goes in the fifth wheel of pretty much any truck. Has self-contained electric over hydraulic pumps, or you hook it into the PTO of either of the trucks. I have a whole video on this as well that will be linked down below. Now, the equipment hauler bed. I haven't touched it since I got it here, which turned into an absolute disaster getting this thing here, for one. I brought it here. I set it on my dolly chassis there so that I could push it back into the corner of the yard until I was able to pull it out and work on it. No time. Especially since I still have the rollback, which does everything this would do but better. So this has been just a side burner project that I got thinking that the rollback was sold and gone. I needed something else. This was going to make it quick detach and go into the same hooks as my Zacklift so that that truck could kind of replace the rollback for equipment hauling. But then the rollback sale fell through, so I still have the rollback, so I don't need this. And that's a big project I haven't even had time to start messing with, so I didn't. Underneath it, this is an axle set out of some trailers that you would use in towing to dolly trailers that have damaged axles and stuff. I was going to build a platform on the top for using it with plate and all that, but again, it's just here holding up my other project that I don't have time for. This one here, again with the weeds, this trailer was just used 2 weeks ago and it's buried in weeds, which is absolutely crazy. But this is my Big Bubba 14,000 pound gooseneck trailer. It's got a 20-foot main deck, deck over, of course, 20-foot main deck with a 5-foot beaver tail off the back. And then this has slide out ramps out of the back that clip in. And then these tail pieces come up flat and pin in place flat to make a 25-foot flat deck, or fold them down and you have a 20+5 beaver tail, and the ramps work whether those are up or down. Very handy setup on this. 14,000 pound trailer with torsion axle suspension, all LED lights through the whole thing. My dad found this. It belonged to a good friend of the family, and I got a really good deal on it. So this trailer is one that will always stay around, and I think this will be a good match to put behind my toter home once that trailer goes away, to haul the toys and 4-wheel drive rigs and stuff like that around the country. Here is Old Faithful, cast to the side, out in the weeds. This is my 2003 Dodge 2500 with the 5.7 Hemi gas engine. This is another one. I've gotten so many questions about this winch mount on the front, because I tell people it's a Weston winch mount, just like the one that's on my other truck, and they look and say Weston doesn't make a winch mount for a 3rd gen Dodge like this. I tell them that's why I said just like the one on my other truck. You have to order the winch mount for a 4th gen Ram, which is 2000, probably shouldn't say this because I don't know, 9, 10, something like that, up to 17, 18, whatever they are. Weston makes a mount for those years of Rams. They don't make a specific mount for this year. Order it for the other year, because all of the mounting points on the frame up here are exactly the same. The only difference on these trucks is this bumper sits up a little higher, so the lower mounting bolts are blocked, and this wouldn't fit in here unless you just notch the bumper right there, and then it slides straight through. So yes, the 4th gen Weston winch mount fits the 3rd gen trucks. It's a complete bolt-on application. All you got to do is trim your bumper a little bit for those pieces to go back in there, and it's no problem at all. Now, I've owned this truck longer than I've owned any vehicle in my life. I've had it for a very, very long time. It's been used as a pilot car for oversized hauling. It's been used as a service truck. It had a normal pickup bed on it. It was set up as an overlandish type rig at one point. Actually, the pickup bed's over here. We're gonna see it in just a minute. And then this bed, my dad and I were out camping in the woods, hours and hours and hours deep out in the National Forest, in the Mendocino National Forest. And we found an abandoned Chevy C10 truck with this bed on it. And we did a lot of searching, a lot of figuring, and a lot of researching, and found the owners, who used to live in the area but had since the years since they had abandoned this. That thing broke down in the woods and they had to walk out. Years later, they'd moved back to Kansas City or something like that, and no one had ever found their truck since. It just was left out there. I think it was a 71 Chevy C10. Either way, I said, well, hey, if you're not going to do anything, but you're obviously not coming back for it, can you send me the title and I'll go get it. I'll get it out of the woods for you, transfer it into my name, and I'll fix it back up and make it run again. They're like, no, man, the water pump blew, and we kept driving until the engine quit, and head gaskets blew and all kinds of stuff. It's junk. And I'm like, I want to fix it. So they sent me the title. My dad and I went back up there, pulled the head off the engine. We took the head with us back to town to get all resurfaced and redone. Did an inventory of what parts we needed: radiators, starters, water pumps, of course, head gaskets and all this stuff. And then my wife and I went back up to the woods in the middle of a snowstorm in my Jeep TJ with every tool and every part we thought we could need packed into the back of that thing. We set up a tarp and an easy up over the front of that thing in a snowstorm blizzard. My wife built a fire to keep us warm. Well, I rebuilt the whole top end of that truck and put it all back together. We fired that thing up and we drove it out of the woods in just a crazy snowstorm. And I actually used it as like a welding service truck for quite a while. Fixed it all up, had it running good. Listed it for sale with the bed on it. 0 bites, nothing at all. And then I took the bed off, and because I was actually looking for a utility bed for this truck, but I wanted the window height bed, short bed, just like this. Very, very hard thing to find. I didn't have the money to go buy a new one. I'm like, man, it's too bad that bed is too narrow to fit on this truck, because it's too narrow, it wouldn't fit over the frame rails in between. So that's too bad, because that's exactly what I want. And so I took it off, ended up building a camp trailer out of that bed, and I built my own trailer and turned it into a camp trailer and pulled around with my Jeep. And then I listed that same truck for sale for double the price with no bed on it, and it sold the next day. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, this truck, or this bed, was a camp trailer for a long time. And then I realized, wait a minute, I have a welder and I own a welding fabrication company. Duh. So I cut the bed in half. I widened the bed out to fit this truck and make it the same width as the doors right there. Put a whole new panel in there, welded it all back together, mounted it on this truck, and this truck has had this utility bed on it ever since. This poor thing is completely worn out. The seats are like blown to nothing but the most comfortable things you'll ever sit in. It just kind of gets neglected and used for random crap every once in a while. It's got 200,000 miles on it. The engine smokes like you wouldn't believe. Transmission does not inspire any confidence. It needs basically rebuilt all the way through. I don't ever want to sell it because I've had it so long and we've been through so much together, but it's also not really worth putting the money into that needs to rebuild this truck back to where it should be. So I'll probably just continue to use it for the random here and there stuff until it won't go anymore, and then we'll look at the bank account and see what makes the most sense, whether it's scrap the thing or go ahead and throw the checkbook at it and bring it back to its former glory. But here we have my 2000 Aspen single axle Jeep. I bought this to go with my Aspen trailer to use in place of the big tandem axle Jeep that's part of that. But again, since that whole haul fell through and all that kind of went away, I don't have a need for this anymore. I believe it's sold. Talked to the guy on the phone just yesterday. He's committed, said that he's taking it. He's sending me a check. So supposedly the check is on the way. And then at some point after that, he'll either send one of his trucks or come himself and get it, and we'll load it on his. So I believe this is sold. But this is, Aspen single axle Jeep, air ride, sliding fifth wheel, brand new tires on the thing, in really good shape. So should do him good. It would have done me a lot of good. I actually never did use it for a real job because in between buying it and needing to use it for anything, that whole heavy haul deal fell through and never ended up using it. Man, I am really embarrassed about the status of the weeds around this place and how they got so out of control so quick, which is why David is over there weed eating. This is my 2015 Liddell Equipment 5x10 utility trailer. And that is because in 2015 I owned a company called Liddell Equipment, which is welding, fabrication, custom fabrication, stuff like that. And this is one of the things I built. It looked completely different from here up back then, and I used it for all kinds of stuff. It's kind of a specialty deal on top, and I needed to use it for something else where all that was in the way. I just took a plasma cutter. I can't remember if I used a plasma cutter or a cutoff wheel, and I just went down and just hacked all that off. Figured I'd just put a top rail on it here at some point to pretty it up and make it clean. That was about 2 years ago. I used it for what I needed to use it for, and I've used it for a few things here and there ever since, but I never did put a new top rail on and finish it back around. I probably should, because this is just a lot of very sharp edges up here. But this has a single 5,200 pound axle with trailer brakes, 5x10 steel floor. You can tell by these on the back, it had a bunch of attachments that drop into it and stuff. This trailer got a lot of use in its life, and now kind of doesn't get too much anymore. This is the lawnmower we recovered from over the 150-foot cliff that I still haven't taken to the scrapyard. And here is the truck bed that was on that silver truck over there. Now it's obviously on a trailer chassis. This was what we used to haul stuff to the dump. This is actually the camper shell for a Chevy pickup that we trimmed down some pieces on and made fit this Dodge bed. Used to use it a whole lot for dump runs and stuff like that, but then I got an actual dump trailer, so hasn't got a lot of use since then. Here's my snowmobile. This is a 1991, I believe, Polaris Indy 500 Trail Deluxe. I bought this for 800 bucks, and it wouldn't rev. Like, it'd idle, you hit the throttle and just bog out and die. Guy couldn't figure out, fought with it forever, never could get it running right, so I bought it for 800 bucks. I opened all this up here. I don't know if it's unlatched. It is. And what had happened was, where that exhaust goes through right there in that rubber boot through the floor, that rubber boot was kicked off to the side and the exhaust was just deadheading against the actual bottom of the tub right there. So it was just back pressure in it when you try to rev it up. That's why it wouldn't rev. Put the exhaust back where it's supposed to go. Thing ran awesome. My wife and I really wanted to get into snowmobiling and make it a regular thing, because we enjoy being out in the mountains and the snow and the outdoors. and we've used it twice, 2 times. We have taken it out, absolutely loved it, had a blast. The problem is this business, I am so busy in the wintertime that we don't get to go out and recreate in the snow for fun anymore. You would think it'd be an easy thing to make time to do, but I'm having to go get all the other people who are out recreating in the snow and something goes wrong or stuck or break down or whatever, meaning I'm in the snow all winter long. We as a family don't really get to go enjoy the winter stuff. I would like to change that. A big eye-opener to that was this, especially, it was a little bit worse. You started to see it some last year. This year especially, the track Jeep recovery videos especially, but just the snow recoveries in general, they don't make the money like they used to despite getting the same number of views. The monetization has actually gone down a lot. So it's like, well, is it worth spending my whole winter doing that when those continue to lose money, each one I do, or should we just go out and have some fun with the family? So next winter, I think we might have to upgrade the snowmobile because this poor thing's been sitting here for about 3 years now since the last time I started it up. And might have to upgrade the snowmobile, and then we get out to having some fun out in the snow and the mountains in the winter. Over here we have my wheelbarrow. It's got 2 handles, 1 wheel, and a tub. That's my wheelbarrow. This here is my John Deere 210 backhoe. You can pull the whole backhoe setup off, and there is the attachments to run a 3-point hitch in there. I've never done that. I just keep it set up as a backhoe. This one has the thumb on the back as well as the auxiliary hydraulics on the front, which is really rare to get both of those. I have forks for it. I have a 4-in-1 bucket and a normal bucket and a snow plow, and those auxiliary hydraulics up front so you can run all that other stuff. It's a great little machine. I think it weighs 7,500 pounds. Super easy to load up and haul anywhere behind your pickup. Will do a good bit of work with both the backhoe part and the front end part. Really enjoyed this thing, and for a vehicle to help do a bunch of maintenance and work around the property, this has been a really good choice. Oh man, David got this trailer all dug out. Oh, I was gonna have to come over here and swim through the weeds to check this one out.
I was trying to do it quick enough.
Oh, you're trying to stay ahead of me?
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody here appreciates that.
Also, I was trying to not be doing it over there.
Where I was filming and you
filming
weeding.
right
Oh, thinking about the video quality.
Yep.
So I guess someone's got to do that. So this is my, what year even is this one? I forget. I think it's a 1990. Hold on. Yep, 1990 Miller 35-foot tandem axle flatbed trailer. I bought this out of an auction from the U.S. Navy. As you can see right here, where it says U.S. Navy. Had to go up to the up in Washington, I believe, to go get it. 35 foot, so it's a short one. Has the bulkhead on the front. The deck looks like hell on top, but is actually really solid. Seeming, I could be wrong when I put a forklift on it and crashed through it, but it seems solid. The big thing about this trailer is they completely rebuilt all the axles and stuff in it before they put it in the auction. Brand new tires, all brand new brakes, brand new wheel bearings, wheel seals, air pots. Those ones aren't, the ones on the back are. But the whole running gear of this trailer completely rebuilt and brand new. I bought this in an auction for 4,000 bucks and went and picked it up, and I've used it for a grand total of 1 job. We hauled a big Cat mining truck engine from Prineville out to Nevada. Did absolutely great, was very happy with it. Backed it in here and parked it right here, and this is where it's at. My military wagon over here. David, not quite fast enough for this one.
Yeah.
Still in the weeds. This trailer here I bought, this is an Army trailer. Bought it out of a government auction. Bought this trailer for $325. And I believe this is a 2008. This trailer was never once used. This is the trailer that they bought, put in an inventory and ready status, and it sat and sat and sat until probably new inventory came to replace it, and then they put it in the auction and sold it. When I bought it, it had never once rolled down the road. Every single tie down on the inside, not a single paint mark on either one. This trailer had never, the pintle ring on the front didn't even have a single mark in the paint. It had never even been hooked to a truck. And I bought it for 325 bucks. Now, a lot of people get really mad about that and say, what a waste of tax dollars. The government wasting all our money again. But you gotta remember, this is a trailer that was bought, put into ready status, inventoried at a military base, ready to be deployed and go if needed. I think our military should have an inventory and surplus of stuff ready to go if needed, because if they didn't, something happens where it was needed, we're all fucked. So you can say what you want about the waste of money. There's a reason for doing that. This trailer though, it's got a steering axle in the front. It doesn't have a turntable. It's a steering axle, air ride front axle, air ride rear axle. It's got this big belly here with fold down sides. It's kind of a goofy trailer, but for certain things would be really handy. The only thing I've used it for so far is last Christmas. I used it to haul the Every Kid Sports crew through the Bend Christmas parade behind my Zacklift truck over there. We put hay bales down the middle, and probably a part of the old hay bales over there. Or no, we did seats down the middle of that one this time. We decorated it all up and we went through the parade. I want to say we got second as far as the decoration side of the parade. But either way, we helped out a local nonprofit organization that helps out kids get into sports. So that makes everything with this trailer completely worth it. You know, the next time we'll probably use this trailer?
When?
Probably for that exact same parade like we did last year.
Christmas?
Yeah, next Christmas. But if that's all I use it for, is helping out a nonprofit that helps kids play sports, worth it.
Yeah.
This here is my Ford school bus. I have no idea what year this is. I can't remember. It's got a Detroit engine in it that I believe is fully rebuilt. We've never even tried to start this. I was told that it runs. I flipped the thing over about a dozen times in my yard, rolling it and standing it up, doing all different kinds of things. My wife has flipped it over with the Zacklift. I about ripped all my guts out of my stomach falling off of it doing that. David should probably give it a shot. That's what we should do. With no advice from my end. No nothing. Other than like parking the truck where it needs to be parked because you don't have a drive truck. I should pull this out in the yard, flip this thing over, hand you the controls to that Zacklift, and you have to figure out how to upright it completely on your own with no direction. I think that'd be a fun little challenge.
I think so.
We're gonna do that one of these days. Soon. Either way, I bought this to be a practice bus. Do exactly that. Trying different recovery scenarios and techniques and stuff like that. I've been able to prove a lot of things, ideas I've had that you didn't want to try in a real job in case it didn't work. I've tried quite a few of those here. Some have worked, and they're things I then use in real jobs and make it much more efficient and better. Some didn't, and I'm really glad I didn't try it on a real life actual job. But the school buses are built so tough. You can roll them over back and forth a bunch of times, and they hold up, and you can continue to do it, which is why they're a great thing for doing that with. I think I paid $1,000 for this bus. Like I said, I was told it runs. Never tried it. We took all the glass out, all the reflectors, all the markers off, so it doesn't make a mess in the yard when you do that. The windshield's still in it, but that hasn't proven to be a problem at all. So it would be kind of cool after flipping it over and rolling it so many times to then try to get it running. So we might have to try that too. Got keys, title, everything to it. Just get it running and take it for a drive down the road. Now we're over here, down kind of in the scrap junk pile. This is not scrap junk, but it just happens to be parked right here. This is my snowmobile trailer. Now this trailer, just another reason I should upgrade my wife and I's snowmobile setup and start using it again, is I have a perfect snowmobile trailer sitting right here. Bought this originally to haul the not electric wheelchairs up to Canada that went so bad. And they all fit on here, and we hooked this to the back of my old 1930 car, drove it across the country and back, not across the country. We drove to Salt Lake City and back, which is across part of the country. Hauled those trailers back, hauled them up to Canada, almost made it up to the border when the engine blew in the car, hooked it to my pickup. So this trailer has been in Canada, and it got sent right back out, twice actually. So I've used it for a bunch of other things. Used it for recoveries of four-wheelers and dirt bikes and stuff like that, hooking it back to the old car and taking it out, and then we could haul them out of the woods or out of motorcycle trails on this thing because it's so nice and small. It's actually been a really handy trailer that gets used quite a bit. We use it to haul parts and pieces and stuff, but we should probably get a new snowmobile to put on that as well. This is my Marine Corps tracked trailer that I accidentally bought. So this is a military generator trailer. Would have had a big generator mounted right there and just normal tires on it, but it was purchased from the Marine Corps by a search and rescue group down in the southern part of the state, and they put these mat tracks on it to pull it behind their Tucker snowcat for helping with rescue operations and hauling gear and stuff in and out. And I guess they used it a couple times and realized that after years of having it, they didn't really need to haul that much extra gear because the Tucker hauled so much on its own. So then it sat for years and years, and then they put it in an auction, in a government auction. I, months ahead of the auction, threw some stupidly low bid on it, just basically so that as it got closer and someone outbid me, I would remember that it was coming up and could go watch it and see what it went for. Well, that never happened. And then one day I'm driving across Idaho and I pull into a truck stop and go to get fuel, hop back in the truck and check my phone, and got an email from the government auction saying, "Congratulations, you've won." And I'm like, what the hell did I win? And I had to open it up and look, and nobody bid on this thing, so I ended up with it. And then I had to go pick it up and haul it back. And yeah, it's got mat tracks, trailer tracks on it. They bolt onto the hub, the 8-lug hub of the trailer, and they're just a free rolling track. And I've pulled it around a little bit around here in the yard and backed it in right here, and that's all I've ever done with it. I don't really have a need for it either. You'd think it'd be a great snowmobile recovery trailer, but around here, all the snowmobile trails are for snowmobiles only. You can't take track Jeeps and snowcats and bigger stuff like this out on the snowmobile trails, even the ones, big wide ones. So you can't really use it for that. You have to use other snowmobiles for doing that. So we haven't used it for that either. I don't really have any use for this. I'm sure there's some people out here who do more of that type of stuff that this would actually work great for, but I got it for dirt cheap. I kind of just set it off to the side, didn't even intend to buy it, and here it sits. But speaking of mat tracks, I would love to upgrade these to mat tracks. They ride so much smoother, so much better than those ones right there, any of the snowmobile based track systems, and are a lot tougher, but they're also stupidly expensive, which is why I still have these. And this is our motorhome. This is a 2020 or 21, I can't remember which, Class C Ford chassis, 31 foot I think it is, Sunseeker RV. The first year of owning this thing, I absolutely hated it. It was total hell, nothing but problems. We bought it brand new, and it was issue after issue after issue, and the majority of those issues were caused by the dealer who was trying to fix other issues. Absolute freaking nightmare. We could not go on a trip without having to work on it to get through the trip. And I'm not talking like, oh, this little screw fell out of a cabinet. I mean, like, the drive line fell out of it on the very first trip. The heat shield that goes between the propane tank and the exhaust in there, driving down the highway, the welds break and it falls off and is dragging down the highway, sparking everywhere. There's a reason there are no more front mud flaps that were here, because the wind blows them back in the tires, and they catch on fire because they are getting just melted against the tires. This, I had to put new brackets in because the ones that was in there, the welds broke, and this swung back, and as you can see, melting on the exhaust, trying to catch on fire. This thing has tried to burn itself down multiple times. We've had major mechanical issues with a lot of parts of it, of the actual RV part of it. That window right there, that front big window, apparently the hole was cut the wrong size for the window, and the window tries to fall out, which is why now it's got a bigger window there than is here, because obviously can't make the hole smaller, so they just made it a little bigger and put an even bigger window in it. And you could see, here's like from the factory caulking, and here's the dealership's replacement caulking on a brand new freaking RV. Look at that. That happened on the very first trip with it. There's so many issues. You run the slide in, and the whole trim around the end piece comes out of the wall and falls off onto the bed, and the bed one back there. It was nothing but issues. You couldn't even fill the water tank because the water fill, the tank in there was smashed against it, against where the tube goes in, so you couldn't even fill it because it was pinched off. So they did something to move it back over, and doing so they had to take the awning off to do it. They just screwed the awning back on, not in the same spot, and left like an open hole there and another one up there that I had to patch because the awning's now over, and they just left the old mounting holes through the side of it wide open. Terrible, terrible experience with this thing for like the first year, probably. Hated the thing. But then I started working on it myself and working through the problems, and everything got a lot better when we stopped taking it to the dealer. Issues started to actually get fixed and not made worse. And over the years we've had it, we've actually got it pretty dialed in. I should totally knock on wood for saying that. But it's actually been really good lately, to the point where we can get in it, go on a trip, and come back and not have to pull out the tools even once the whole time. And that's been really, really nice. We bought this for a lot of business road trips because I absolutely hate flying with a passion, and I hate staying in hotels with a passion. So most of my traveling for business, beyond even what like you guys see with Cascade Heavy Rescue and YouTube, there's other business, are within the western region of the states. It's all, most of it is within a day's drive away. I would much rather get in this thing and spend 12 hours driving somewhere and then have this for a couple days to stay in and drive home than fly somewhere and fly back and stay in a hotel. So this has been, once we got dialed in, we have the Starlink for it, we got all the mechanical issues figured out for the most part. I think actually we're good on all that. It's been great. It's like our home office and home away from home, and have everything you need. But kind of like our snowmobile over there, we thought, you know, using it for the business trips, that way when I go somewhere to go filming, and like I said, beyond what you guys see on this channel, I can bring the family and we'll all be comfortable and have our stuff, and Riley can have her things and her art that she loves to do and all that. And but also we'd have it for family vacations. Like I said, it's 2020. We got this in 2020 or 21. I cannot remember. But either way, since then I can think of one time we've taken it on an actual vacation somewhere that wasn't a filming trip where we were filming for either ours or other channels. And I think that was my wife's birthday last summer. Anything that's within, I would say, 2 driving days of time to get somewhere, I would take this over flying. Its one downfall is that it doesn't have very much of a tow capacity on the back, which is where the toter home comes in. So stuff where I'm going to need to like tow something heavier or a lot more weight than the little bit this can handle, I'll take the toter home instead. But those probably aren't going to be where I'm bringing the whole family with me. When I need to bring the whole family, I want all the conveniences and comforts, it's going to be this thing. Like within the this month and the remainder of this month and next month, I can think of David and I are going to be taking this thing to Wyoming. I've got to go to California. We've got another probably Nevada trip with it, Utah and Arizona and maybe Montana. And those are all separate trips. It's not like one loop we're doing. That's all going to be most likely separate trips. I might be able to tie California into Arizona. We'll see how that goes. But like I said, this gets used a whole lot, and once we've got all the bugs worked out of it, I've really come to like it. It's been an absolute game changer to make life a hell of a lot better with all the traveling for work stuff, and I am really, really glad we bought it. Just wish we would have never taken it back to the dealer after we did and just handled everything myself. Some YouTubers have their own airplane for flying around and traveling for work and all that stuff. I have an RV, and there's 2 reasons I have an RV instead of an airplane, and both those reasons are because I can't afford an airplane. Okay, that's everything that's in this yard at the moment. So we're gonna head over to the trailer yard and look at the big trailers. Then we're gonna head over to Elite Fleet to check out Jed, the main attraction here. The toter home is not here. It's over at McCauley's, getting all full service and everything done to get ready for a big road trip. But that's kind of gets its own complete video, or just had its own complete video. So it's kind of okay that we're leaving it out of this one. So to the trailer yard and then on to the star of the show. The big trailers. These are my 2 9-axles. This one here is a 2000 Aspen 65 ton. It's got a hydraulic flip neck on it, sliding 5th wheel on the Jeep. This one is air ride all the way through, a 24 foot by 8 foot 6 wide flat deck with an excavator tray in the middle of it here to tuck booms down super low, and all that is cut out in there to run the boom way down low in there. It is a modular deck where you can unpin it right here, add extensions. change out the deck for drop sides or beams or longer, shorter, whatever you want to do. Again, all air ride all the way through. This trailer is a booster trailer. So the booster's just here on the back, follows along. And it is a California legal mechanical distribution trailer. That's how the booster carries all the weight. Not a bump steer or anything like that, but it does have a lockout pin right here for backing up. And this trailer was completely rebuilt by Zacklift down in Stockton about 6 or 7 years ago. And it's had very, very little use since. This trailer actually before that was owned by, I believe it was a paving company in California, and it was used to haul their big grinder. And that's all it ever did. And then they took it to Zacklift, had the whole thing rebuilt. Went to a drilling company up in Washington where it hauled some drills around a little bit, but not much because most of their stuff was too big for it. And then I bought it and used it to haul my containers around with our container project that we were doing. So I don't think this trailer has ever really like been out hauling heavy equipment type construction stuff, ever. I'm pretty sure it's always hauled just either a grinder, a drill, or my containers. So this thing has had a very, very easy life. Then this one here is my 1980 Cozad 80-ton steerable trailer. We just got the steering bar replaced. You guys saw that in a previous video, and the engine wouldn't start, and we fought that for so long. Tim with High Mountain Diesel, I don't know why I'm pointing over there because it's not there, but on my white Western Star, he's the one that built the whole hydraulic system on that runs the Zacklift. He saw that video, saw us looking like idiots struggling with that motor, and later that day he was driving by, so he just stopped by, pulled in the yard, and like, I didn't know it, but the day I posted that video, I think the next day or something, I just got a random text message from him saying it's fixed, all good to go, just cleaned out the fuel shutoff. So this motor has a fuel shutoff valve in it, and apparently, oh, he like replumbed back where this is all supposed to. He did it way better than we did. So yeah, it has a fuel shutoff in there with like a needle that closes off to shut off the fuel, everything. Apparently that was all jammed up, and that's why it wasn't starting, but would when we would run gas down it. So yeah, Tim saw the video, just stopped by and fixed my trailer for me. So thank you, Tim. Very much appreciated. But either way, 80-ton steerable 9-axle, because you count the truck's axles in the whole setup. You can't legal 80 tons on the deck, but it will take and handle 80 tons on the deck if that's what you need to do. Mechanical steering linkage there, so this trailer self-steers when it's going down the road, and then that unhooks, comes off, you fire up that motor, someone rides on that little seat right there and can manually steer the back end with the hydraulics and drive it from there at low speed, obviously. It's got a power tower in the rear with 18 inches of travel for height adjustment. Has your rear neck on it. This is also a modular trailer that's pin jointed at the back, so you can swap out decks, put in extensions, put a beam section in it, a drop side, whatever you want to do. And this one is shimmable here as well. That trailer is also shimmable there, shimmable at the joint back there, and then of course shimmable at the hydraulic neck up there. This one here is a 25.5 foot, I think it might even be 26, can't remember measure, but 10 foot wide flat deck. And this one is a mechanical neck on the front. See, it's got ramps up the Jeep to another power tower up here with another engine in right there. Again, another 18 inches of travel on the front of this one. And this one is all 10 foot wide axles here, 10 foot wide axles there, and then the booster's 8.6. But all of these are walking beam, whereas the other trailer's all air ride. And then this one has, of course, again, a fixed neck Jeep on it. Kind of like that one, but instead of having a sliding fifth wheel and a hydraulic neck, this one has ramps and a power tower. And yes, both of these trailers are currently for sale because the deal I had for them and the haul I had for them, all that kind of went away and done deal. So they can sit here and I can use them here and there, piece by piece, little bits at a time if I need to, or they can both be for sale. They're both for sale. They are for sale.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're for sale. So I never really wanted to be in like the for-hire equipment transport, construction, hauling, heavy haul type of thing, running all over the country. I don't really have the time to do that. I bought them for a specific use, a specific purpose that worked for a little bit, and then now it didn't. So that's why they're both sitting and for sale. Both of them are completely paid for, no payments on anything, clear titles to all of it. So they're not really costing me anything to sit there. That's why I'm not in a huge like rush or hurry to sell them. Like, they can sit, that's fine, but it's also a lot of money I could use for other stuff if they do sell. So either way, is okay with me. Okay, we're at Elite Fleet walking over here to Jed, and I realized that just earlier I had said I don't have an airplane because I can't afford an airplane. But I also said all these trailers are paid for, so they can just sit here. It doesn't really matter if they sell or not, but if they sold, I'd be able to buy an airplane. So somebody buy my trailer so I can buy an airplane, and then, you know, do the whole thing like where I pay someone to teach me how to fly, because I don't know how to do that either. Either way, this is Jed. Easily the stupidest vehicle I have ever bought. It is, I don't know what sort of Model A, I believe, body on a Jeep YJ chassis. We robbed the tires for some other stuff. We have robbed the rear end to when we swapped rear ends in the old car. I don't think this one's all the way welded back in yet, so we're putting this new one in. Yeah, the spring purchase still had to get finished welding on. That's where we stopped. We found out, because it was missing its front drive line, we put a new one in and found out that the front axle and rear axle were different gear ratios. And then when we needed to re-gear the car, we realized that we thought the rear axle that was in this was the correct gear ratio that we wanted, which was this one. So we pulled it out and put it in the car and drove it and realized we wanted to still go lower. So instead of re-gearing this one, we got a whole new rear axle for the car, a much better upgraded one with limited slip and all that stuff. And then we put this one, I don't even know what freaking axle we have in it now. That one is what we have. And it's got to get finished. The spring purchase welded on. Front drive line's in it, and they'll both spin at the same speed. We cut out the floor so that you can actually use two-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low, unlike how it was before. It was just high or low. The dash is made of duct tape. All the gauges actually work amazingly. When I bought this thing, the guy told me the one thing on it that doesn't work is when you put your seatbelt on, the seatbelt light doesn't go out. So, you know, that. But this thing, I don't know. I bought this for dirt cheap money. I made a video of going to pick it up, driving it around out in Alfalfa, and then I drove it into town here to Nate's shop. And that video more than paid for what I paid for this thing. Like, I profited on this vehicle simply by posting that video, which is crazy to me that something like that profits, but doing the recoveries and helping people out stuff loses. But that's the way YouTube works. So this is like actual Model A parts. This is a homemade hood, and underneath we can see how bad it is. So when I bought it, it did not have an air filter on it, and the guy told me how he drove it all around, which makes me really nervous about what has been put into that engine. This right here, this is the throttle cable, just pulling through the side of the firewall there. This is the throttle cable where it is cutting through the side of that bracket right there. And then it goes down to painters, tape, and zip ties holding it to the actual throttle body of the carburetor, or whatever the hell that is. Luckily the return spring is built in, so that's not gonna do it. The only problem would be if this like goes in there and jams and hangs. So that's not safe for on the street. It does not have power brakes, and it does not have power steering. My original thought when I bought this would be to throw the tracks on it, just because it would look absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I bought the thing, was to put the tracks on it, just to have something that looks stupid ridiculous and go play in the snow with. But then we found out it doesn't have power steering, so you can't put hydro assist on it, which means you can't run tracks. So that went out the window. But then that video profited, so I was money ahead in the thing, which again makes no sense. And then we robbed the rear axle out and never finished putting the other one back in, because we've all been so busy that it's just sat here ever since. There's a train. Yes, I don't know what year the actual body, this part is. It's the Jeep 4-cylinder engine, 2.5 4-cylinder. Trains are so cool. My goal is to drive one day. Anyway, you can see where they cut the body mounts off. They didn't even like grind it and trim it. They just straight cut. Tape firewall. We put a new drive line in it. That's how we found out the gear ratios were wrong. There is no sway bar links. This, and I drove it like this. This is not actually attached. So that should get attached. It does have a winch plate right here, so we can mount a winch on it. The YJ headlights are stuck into these whatever housings. Again, more body mounts just hacked off. Same thing here, just hacked off. This is all incredibly sharp, very, very sharp. They cut it with like a cutoff wheel and never ground anything down or smoothed it out. So, and the hood isn't actually fully attached, and the self tappers they use to run the screws through the hinges are just sitting there ready to cut you open. You got a unistrut hood and grill support here. Everything in here pretty legit because it's the factory YJ stuff, other than that whole throttle cable situation. I don't know why that's folded in half. It probably shouldn't be. The doors, where's my latch? Gutted, just doors. It does have a roll cage in it, but the roll cage is just goober welded to sheet metal down here. This is the floor pan of the YJ with the gap filled in with unistrut. The seat mounts made out of more unistrut, and then over here the seat mounts are made by just welding the corner of that to the corner of that. The seat belts are mounted to this piece of bar down here with a hose clamp. That hose clamp is all that's holding the seat belt in. And then the other problem is the roll cage is not as tall as I am, so my head pushes up on this. The shifter is like a beer tap handle, but they only painted the side that was facing the driver, so they clearly sat in the driver's seat and painted it because, you know, like, their batteries up in here, not tied down in any way at all. Wiring is kind of a little bit scary. More duct tape firewall, duct tape dash, vents in the windows because I forget what he said, why that had to be there. Harley mirrors there, more just tin to make the body out of, and goober welds with no, I don't think they had any shielding gas when they were welding. The door hinges are made out of screwdrivers. I don't know what type of material this is. More just, like I said, I don't think there was any shielding gas used in any of these welds. It has this toolbox back here, kind of the trunk of the thing. The bed is made out of a shuffleboard table. This is just some wood to patch where the metal was cut out and they didn't have enough. And then it's just wooden deck screws. Up here you can see how the bed is mounted. This is the original floor tub of the YJ, and there's just wooden deck screws ran down through it. And that's all that's holding the front of the bed down. And in the rear, they just, again, no shielding gas used, unistrut out, bumper support here, and then deck screws. Where's the rear ones that actually mount it? Right here. That's what's holding the rear of the bed down to this back here that is then welded on with that unistrut there. Again, more body just hacked off. Everything like, oh, other thing in the back here. I don't think you can see it anymore, but the track bar on the rear of this was also disconnected and not actually hooked up. This thing is an absolute pile of junk that should not be on the road. I did drive it down the road one time. I have no desire to ever do it again. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Like I said, my original plan to throw tracks on it and take it out in the snow and just make some cool video of this thing on tracks in the snow did not work out because you can't put hydro assist on something that doesn't have power steering. Also on this side, again, the seat belt held on with a hose clamp. So it's not safe. This thing is not safe to drive. But in reality, you get to it, the part that makes it not safe is this body they put on it. I drove it down the road. It drives really good. I did 65 miles an hour down the road in this thing, and it drove great. Like, it driving handled good. rode just fine, didn't do any weird bumping and moving, got 65 and cruised no problem. So like the YJ chassis that it's on is actually good. The springs are good, front axle's good, rear axle once we finish putting in is good. Hook up the track bar so that you know it's like connected, hook a sway bar back up, shocks in the rear, and the engine runs good, transmission's just fine, transfer case works. Once that new rear axle's welded all the way in, like the chassis and running gear of this is actually pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's like good, but it's pretty okay, decent. So my thoughts now, or when we get time, scrap all of this. Take that cage off, take everything and scrap it, and we have a running chassis. And then finding some other body to put on top of it and just go and have some fun with it. I don't know what type of body. I think another old vehicle would be cool, but it's a decent base. It's just another project that's going to take some time and doing and thinking what actually it is we want to do with this. Do you have any suggestions of what we should do with this thing? Whether it's scrap this body, start over, and like correctly put a different body on it and have a cool four-wheel drive rig, some type of unique old or something four-wheel drive rig, which I guess I already have 2 of those, but I wouldn't mind having 3. Or should we like full sail this thing off a big jump or some other thing with it? We had the thought of tough trucking it and just destroying it, but you wouldn't live through it in that death trap up there, so we can't do that unless we seriously modified the inside. But again, like running and driving wise, it's actually pretty good. So let me know what you think we should do with this. I don't know, that's why we're kind of at a standstill with it. But this is Jed, the stupidest vehicle I have ever bought, but also the one that was an instant profit, which again blows me away. So that is the full Cascade Heavy Rescue Casey Liddell YouTube fleet tour. Unfortunately, at this time, it does not include an airplane or a helicopter. So maybe if we sell the big trailers, we can sneak one of those in past the wife. Actually, she'd probably be all for it. But until then, that's that. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. So this thing's been sitting here for how long?
Well, the last time it moved, it was like 10 degrees outside, but it actually didn't get to move. So there was so much water in the transmission that it froze, and I couldn't get it into reverse. Like you would get it in gear and you'd let the clutch out, and it was like
it was locked up.
Stopped the motor, and we were like, well, we got like it's going into first and second, and then like it wouldn't go into reverse, and so yeah, it had to sit here and idle out here for like 3 hours
to thaw the transmission.
To thaw the transmission out. Yeah, I think I sent you the video
of all the water pouring out the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and you think it's going to start all these months later? So this thing's been sitting here abandoned in the back for 6 months, and Nate thinks it's going to start. Shut up.
Damn it!
Did you just stab your finger?
I stabbed my finger in that stupid thing. Ah!
That's my theft prevention. Shut up! Shut up!
The best Jeep you have.
I have multiple trucks sitting in my yard worth hundreds of thousands of dollars that won't start if they sit for a week. And this piece of shit fires right up after being back here just in the corner for a month.
I've taken really good care of it. No, I haven't. This thing just lives rent-free in my mind.
And your yard.
Let's go take this sketchy vehicle for a drive in rush hour traffic.
Check out all the jealous people staring at us.
He didn't even wave at me. What a dick. There are tack welds holding this rear end in, and
oh,
no
yeah.
shocks.
We never welded it on.
Yeah. Oh, it drives so sketchy. I would like to turn if you could get out of my... You're in my blind spot. You wave at me in your Lexus. I'm coming for you. Woo-woo!
It's a good thing it doesn't have enough power to twist the tubes.
Oh, it does. Want to see?
Oh, we got to go.
Ow. wave at that guy. Pretty sure he needs stitches.
Did you just hit the side?
Fucking damn it. That guy's like, he's on more drugs than we are.
Park next to this thing.
Fill it up with propane, please. Where's the cops?